Hello, Red Eye. This is Mike Cahill and Michael Pitt. We're here telling you to go see Eye Origins in the movie theaters July 25th.
So I know, Mike, you did some research for this movie. So many interesting things going on in the film, of course.
Thank you.
How much of the research, I'm not really sure, is this something people are actually looking into in terms of like people having identical iris patterns and,
right.
what that would imply? Is that something that is actually going on?
Yes, that's something that's actually going on in reality, in real life.
And is it being connected to, like, what, in your research, what did you come across as far as where they're at with that and what that might mean?
There's no conclusions yet. It's all very sort of preliminary. It just happened recently. So, there is a database of eyes. Iris scanning, a lot of people don't realize, it started in the late 80s, 1987, and has been spreading around the world. It's a great, effective way to to ID a person. It's better than a fingerprint, because it's an internal organ visible from the outside. It stays the same from birth to death. And to get an iris scan, all you need is a photograph or like a high-res image. So yeah, there's. I mean, that whole the duplicates thing is new, and people can Google that and look that up. But
I know you're very interested in kind of the way that people feel in the world, not wanting to feel alone.
Yeah.
Which would make you guys feel less alone in the world? If you knew there was a duplicate you on another planet, a la another Earth, or if you knew that your soul belonged to someone else and would again after you die?
Well, they're different things. They're both existential questions, but they're getting at something different, each one. One's eradicating the fear of loneliness, or like the fact that we are singular in our POV on the world, and that can be slightly terrifying. And this film is not about loneliness as much as it is about the fear of death and regret and grieving and loss.
Well, I think there's still those notions of like your identity being more than just you right now, though. You know what I mean? What do you think, Michael?
What's the question?
Would you feel less alone in the world if you either knew that there was another version, a duplicate version of you on another planet, like in Mike's film on another Earth, or if you found out that your soul had existed before and will exist again?
If there was another me on like another Earth, I'd want to meet him.
You would?
Yeah, I would totally want to meet him. I'd probably put him to work and I'd be like, listen, I am in this relationship, I am the alpha, you know, don't mess around, you know, I'm the king of us. So I definitely want to have that conversation.
What would you have him do?
As soon as possible. What would I have him do? You know,
doing it right now.
I would like. Actually, you're talking to him.
You're not the number one.
Holy shit!
I'm not, I'm in the process of taking over.
Oh, I see. So you're just listening to commands.
I'd
for
probably
a while.
have him do stuff I didn't want to do, like my laundry. I'd make him cook for me.
This is just like Multiplicity. Did you ever see that?
Which movie?
That was the Michael Keaton one where he gets.
Oh yeah, I love that one. Yeah, that's a good movie. I like Michael Keaton. What the fuck happened to him, man?
He's back. He's with Birdman.
Oh yeah, he's back.
Birdman looks amazing.
Birdman. And what's the other thing? Like, this movie. Yeah, I'd be into that too, man. I would totally.
What about you? What would you feel?
I feel like because you could actually interact with the duplicate version of yourself, if you could, that would be a much more tangible way of feeling like you had someone else out there, as opposed to like, my soul's moving on, cool, but I don't really get to meet them.
That's what I'm trying to say. One is not about loneliness. It's about the person.
The problem is the question,
itself.
man. The question.
Trick question.
Doesn't really work, does it? No,
Didn't really work.
That was a reference from Amadeus.
Michael, do you think it's harder to play someone who believes and has a crisis where he starts not believing, or the other way around, in this case where your character doesn't really believe but then is starting to think, well, maybe I should?
Do I think it's harder to play a character who believes and then
has that belief shaken?
Oh, I see. Oh, that's an interesting question. I don't think either one is harder or easier or harder. It was very interesting to me to play this guy. To play this scientist whose whole life is based on data, proof, and who is essentially an atheist. I think. It was very fun and difficult and easy and interesting to play a character where that was being shaken. Do you know who Richard Dawkins is?
I read you talking about him in a different interview.
Yeah, so like
I didn't before.
We pulled some. Yeah, I would totally encourage anyone to YouTube Richard Dawkins, check out some of his lectures and stuff. It's a scientist that Mike turned me on to, and then we took some things. I wanted to take some things from him, actually, who he is, and put it in Ian. The idea was to set up this really strong foundation of someone who was so against, the other side, with the idea that, thinking that the bigger the hurdle was, the more the release would be at the end of the film when we actually shook up his world.
Yeah, and that's a part of great films that I admire, is seeing a character change in some way or get shaken, their ground be disrupted. And what I love about the performances in this film and that sort of climactic moment is doesn't occur through words, it's just through looks. Like, you believe change has occurred just by seeing it in the eyes.
Michael, when you were growing up, were you as interested in science as Mike is, or was that not?
I was kind of like a closet, I was very interested in science. But I think that, especially in America, I think that for some reason there's a stigma about science. And one of the reasons I was really, to be honest, to be serious, like one of the reasons I was interested in making this film was to sort of say, this is cool. What these guys are doing is amazing. You should be interested in this. And scientists are not people in white coats with no sense of humor who can't talk about music or can't. They're some of the most creative, passionate people that you'll meet. And
do you think that's an American stigma? Like, other countries are more receptive of?
Well,
of those people?
I mean. I love this country. It's not like, but I do think that, without getting too in.
It's very political.
Yeah, it's political. I mean, I'd rather stay away from the politics. I mean, I think in the world, definitely, I think it's a great sort of it's something I stand behind, to get people more interested in science. I think is a good it's a good message. It interests me, and the only reason I say that is because we're not doing so good on the world stage as far as like our abilities in science and math and stuff like that.
Sure. Michael, you said there are times when it's not encouraged for you to ask questions working on TV. For a film actor, that's basically the opposite. Can you give an example of anything you were referring to when you said that?
Well, basically, yeah, I mean, an example. What did I say? Tell me what I said.
Basically, you suggested that for an actor, you're not supposed to ask questions working on TV, but you are. In
it's kind of what that is it's a very intricate thing. It would take probably a while to explain that. You'd have to have like a really good idea of what those things are. But essentially, maybe the easiest way that I can answer that is there are different mediums in the sense where, when you make a film, a director it's all about the director. It's about the director's vision. When I signed on to this film, I had to be clear that Mike had that vision, that he had that vision, that he knew how to execute it, and also at the, in the end game, someone wasn't going to take it away from him. And I was very clear about that early on. Then when I met the producers on this movie, who are amazing, they really they love Mike. They respect Mike, and they're really cultivating him, to his vision. On the television show, very often in my experience, and I've only really spent time on one, was a point in which the director is the person with the least amount of power. So that makes it difficult. For some actors, I think a lot of actors would agree with me that if you can't ask, if there's a problem, or if in this, I'm asking Mike questions all the time, and he's written it, he's directing it, and so he's able to give direction. If you don't have the power to give direction, it can be a difficult situation, and questions then can be looked upon as problematic.
Come across as far as where they're at with that and what that might mean.
There's no conclusions yet. It's all very sort of preliminary. It just happened recently. So, there is a database of eyes. I was scanning. A lot of people don't realize it started in. Hello, Red Eye. This is Mike Cahill and Michael Pitt. We're here telling you to go see Eye Origins in the movie theaters July 25th.
So I know, Mike, you did some research for this movie. So many interesting things going on in the film, of course.
Thank you.
How much of the research, I'm not really sure, is this something people are actually looking into in terms of like people having...
Late 80s, 1987, and has been spreading around the world. It's a great, effective way to to ID a person. It's better than a fingerprint, because it's an internal organ visible from the
identical iris patterns and,
right.
what that would imply. Is that something that is actually going on?
Yes, that's something that's actually going on in reality, in real life.
And is it being connected to, like, what, in your research, what did you come